All right, well, I'm what turned out to be a small project initially is now a big project. And what I'm doing is I'm polishing out the bumpers after having restored the inside. I think, as I indicated, I started a few days ago. Um, what I'm doing now is I'm polishing out the stainless steel. And there are a couple of scratches, some nasty scratches that gee, you can hardly see this, of course. Yeah, but it's right. Yeah, there's one over there. I don't know if I'm gonna take that one out. I might try. But anyway, let me explain the technique. I have an angle grinder that has 3-inch pads. Is that a 4-inch pad? Looks like the size of a golf hole. And I have a pad this size, and they have Velcro backs. And I have these circular pads that I just stick on there. And I usually start with 1200 and then go to sometimes 1000, but usually 1200, and then I go up to these gray pads, which feel about 2000, maybe 2500. And I just angle grind across it, and of course you get swirl marks in there, but that takes out the heavy scratches. All right, now I've worked on this one for a while, and it's actually pretty close to being finished. I was just going to try to take some of these heavier scratches out of it. And then what I do is I go on my buffing wheel. And this is just a Harbor Freight 6-inch buffer. This is a sisal wheel. It's kind of heavy duty, but this will take out the swirl mark scratches. And what I do, of course, is I use buffing compound, and this is for stainless steel. And on the soft side, on this soft, I use rouge. And between the two, I get a pretty good finish on it. It's not professional, but it's pretty good. So I'm going to continue to work on this. These are reassembled. I've had some trouble with this, the edge of this, and that's a whole video in and of itself. But basically, these tabs are very difficult to pull through under here. And I don't know if they were a precision fit when they were made anyway, so I'm not gonna, I've spent way too long on them anyway, but I'm not gonna spend too much more time on it. So the bumpers are pretty near to completion, and I will be putting them back on the car sometime later today. All right, well, we got our bumpers back on the car, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with it. I would say that the amount of this bumper, the passenger bumper, is about a 1/4 inch off from the driver's side bumper, and I don't think it's correctable per se from the adjustments that I have available to me here. When I did measure the W bracket, and it is a 1/4 inch off, so I'm thinking that 1/4 inch is translating into a 1/4 inch difference here. But I think it looks a lot better. The gaps look a lot better. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to call that a win. The stainless looks pretty good. It's not perfect. You can see there's a slight discoloration here. It's really hard to see. I might be able to take that out. Why didn't I do it before I mounted it? Well, that's a good question. The plastic needed some repair, which I did. The rubber I'm not particularly thrilled with, but that's, I think, what you get. And we're going to call that a wrap. There's some more detailing work to be done here. I got to put the grill back in, but that, of course, is not critical. So we're coming closer to getting this thing on the road and getting it running. Well, I've come to the point where I might try to get this puppy back out on the road over the next day or so. Excuse me. Got the battery installed and I put the bracket on it to keep it in place. I'm going to leave the air filter off for a while. And I think the fluids are good. The brake pedal feels a little bit squishy. Of course, I know we're not talking about 2023 performance, but it still feels a little squishy to me. I don't know, the jury's still out. I do have a brand new master cylinder sitting in a box somewhere, but I put some of the final details on the car. Those are original, I think they call them spaghetti type. It's a bayonet type of wiper, but I put the caps on, which I had sitting around, and I got that. Although I don't intend to use those. But I think it's good enough to hit the road. I've tried to do as much detailing work under the car as I really felt like doing. I got to the point where it was pretty good. So that's the story. I'm going to try to get some heat on that rear window while the sun is out here. And try to get that plastic soft. I'm going to put maybe the top down. And I'm thinking maybe tomorrow morning I'm going to be doing some thinking about this over the next day or so, because I'm trying to do as much as possible under the car before I put it back on the wheels. That's going to be a momentous occasion. What else do I still have out there? There's so much dust and pollen in this car, it's not funny. But I've got the famous lockout mechanism still under there. It's connected, but I just left it like that. Car will run fine. But there's a lot of dust and stuff. I do want to get the car out of the garage because I want to do the door limit straps on this side. I don't have the room because the door hits the wall. But I think we're ready for a road test. That's my gut anyway. And got a ton of junk under the car, but easily clean upable. Doesn't leak really at all anywhere, which I'm very happy with. It'll leak after you get it running a little bit, but it's not leaking anywhere, at least substantially. I think it weeps a little bit when the car's running. So that's in a long explanation. Let's see what else. There is going to be some detailing work. I'm going to work on these little spots here someday, but I'm most concerned about the mechanical condition. I'm pretty confident in the engine. The fuel injection, I think I got to the point where it's going to run acceptably. I'd love to know what kind of mileage I'm going to get on it. But so this is like a pre-flight check. We'll see how it works. All right, we'll catch you later when we try to torch up this baby. Okay, well, on this Saturday morning, we are getting ready for road test number 1. The car's on the ground, and the thing that immediately strikes me is how much lower to the ground it actually is in reality. But I got it on the ground, put the top down, cleared off all the covers on the car, a lot of covers and stuff, and I'm just struck with how pretty this car looks. So we're going to light it up. I've got a tripod on the passenger seat, kind of unceremoniously just put there. And I'm hoping that this will, I mean, this is the best mechanism I have. Well, I don't want to bust that. Let me try to move it back a little. There's a lot of dust in the car, and I'm hoping that the wind will actually help me there. I took off that cap off the driver door because I have to replace the one of the screws. I'll get to that. My friend, I think, has some extra Alfa screws. So we're going to give it a shot. Of course, prior to doing this, I'm not sure how much gas I have, but I think I have enough to run around a little. I checked all the tires, and of course double checked the lug nuts. After I use my ratchet, I use a breaker bar to just make sure they're snug and they're good. What else? Like I said, I think I have enough gas to run around a little bit. I'm not going to go to the gas station today. Yesterday I bled the brakes, and I will say that I'm really not happy with how soft the brake pedal is, but we're going to see how it functions on a road test. I don't think it's going to be any better, of course. And I haven't started the car for almost 2 weeks, so that's going to be a little bit of a interesting exercise. The battery is fully charged, and I'm going to put some juice in it. That's probably good enough for now. And we'll start it up in a minute and then be on our way. Okay, let's see if it starts up. Pressure light is still not off. It actually sounds like the fuel pump isn't even on. That's weird. I did play around with that. Little interruption. Well, I don't know if very many people have done this, but I got the car back up on jack stands. I took the fuel pump out, and this is an AEG type fuel pump. It's a dry pump. The other versions were Spica and Bosch, and of course there are later Bosch models, but for the Series 2s. This is a fairly rare pump. It's a dry pump, meaning that the motor operates dry. There's no lubrication from fuel. This was changed later on to be operated by, I should say, lubricated or cooled by fuel, because there's less of a fire risk. But anyway, that's getting more technical than I am. But so I'm just inspecting things in here. This is the just the inlet port, and you could see where the gears over here mate to this piece here, like that. I just took out these 8mm bolts, and the whole thing came apart actually fairly easily. I'm not going to take apart these two halves for fear of completely screwing something up. But the motor drive is over here. Now, I actually tested the motor on my voltage source, and it ran fine. So, you know, I'm a little bit at a loss to see. These are the gears that spin around. Which provide the pumping action. I'm not sure exactly how it works. But anyway, basically goes in, I think this configuration. I actually have marks over here. It goes like this. And this is the inlet, this is the outlet. I don't know, I'm looking around more than explaining things, to tell you the truth. But, you know, everything seems to be in order. These gears don't look like there's any lubrication in there whatsoever. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. This is the drive. This mounts on the motor. There's a little notch cut out in the shaft of the motor, and that aligns to that. Anyway, I'm going to look around, see if I find a smoking gun, but this thing may be toast. It just all of a sudden gave up the ghost, so I'm still investigating. This shows the orientation of the two holes that hold together the whole armature unit to the mounting holes up on the top here. So when it's reassembled, it's in this orientation. All right, let's try this out. It's working. All right, so what did I do to get it working? Well, what I did was when I had it apart, I sprayed electrical contact cleaner in the, we're leaking a little fuel here. I'll have to check that out. But I sprayed electrical contact cleaner in there, and it seemed to, I guess, get the motor running better. And the motor running better got the pump operating better. You know, there's a pressure, I think, relief valve here on the pump. I don't like that leak. I don't like the location of where that leak is coming from. I did not cinch this whole thing up. I just installed it temporarily. But, boy, this thing did not leak a single drop of fuel before. And I'm wondering now whether I'm going to have a leaky pump. You know, I could take it back apart pretty easily and put some sealer in here. Some fuel resistant sealer. That might be a good idea. Of course, I'll have to see where the leak is coming from. Seems to be right here. And I cinched these down pretty good. But I'll cinch it down some more. I'll take it back out. I'll take it back off. I don't think it's leaking from here. I don't even have the rumble blocks secured because I figured I was going to be taking this thing back apart again. So the saga continues, but we're making progress, I think.